guy dropped out at that weight. Shapiro is. Are they on a shrinking program? We talk about Cowboy Bulk Job. Shapiro is 97 to 84, then 74, which they did the same thing with
Coleman.
Who's the other guy they did?
No, Sammy Colbray.
Sammy Colbray.
Coleman
shrunk.
also he's going down to 84, but he's been at 74 in the past. I would say he just loves to jump around weight classes.
Jump around.
Yeah, they really are. So I thought they were good. The Zach Redding guy, he won. I didn't know a whole bunch about him.
I wish Ian Parker would have been there, so we could have seen the Parker Deegan wrestle off. Maybe the Cyclone Open is this weekend, so maybe we will get to see.
I bet they're wrestling in it.
Yeah, they also dual Army, I believe, before that. So we could also see some rematches from this weekend, like the, Teskey rematch.
Staying on Iowa State for a minute, when David Carr was down at Who's Number One, he told us that Marcus Coleman was a guy who had made a jump this year, and he got that win over Venz, looked good.
Shout out to the 515 Central Iowa.
Yeah, you have to shout out the 515.
You have to.
Coleman was within a takedown of Keckeisen late, and then ended up giving up another one and lost 8-4. He was. I'm not saying he beat him, but like he was in that match. I didn't expect it to be that close. So it was a 6-4 match late, and then Keckeisen got another takedown.
Another guy who I think is better suited.
Wait, I thought Parker got
weight class.
back. I'm looking that up. You're right. You got to take down at the end. No, you're correct.
Okay. Yep. So, but he not like he was really threatening Keckeisen, but he put himself in a position where he could have sent it to overtime. So, but better than I expected. And Coleman, I don't know. Keep an eye on him. He's one of the guys that jumped a whole bunch of spots in the rankings. But because of that Venz win, he jumped from 21 up to number 10.
He jumped right ahead of him.
Right ahead of him.
Nice.
Up to 10.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, there's some good matches we get. I know where I want to go. I want to go Stanford, Cornell.
Yeah, let's do it. First, also a tip of the cap to Iowa State for not medically forfeiting out of matches.
There weren't that many at Daktronics. I mean, there was some, but if you look at the last round, there wasn't a whole bunch. I should count them, but it's usually that last round. There's, just like medical forfeit in the 3rd and 5th place match, sometimes even in the finals.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you guys a count here. Let's see. Out of 30 matches, because three place matches per mat, there was only 3 forfeits. That's good. That's really we're moving in a good direction. They must listen to us roasting all of them. When
we saw those Daktronics brackets in the chat, in our team chat, I was like, man, we could see Peyton Robb, David Carr. We could see a good final at 84. JD's like, that's not going to happen. They're going to forfeit.
No. I just said that at this point in the slate of D1 wrestling, I go into it expecting it not to happen so that I am not disappointed when it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and you can't get like really fired up that any matchup is going to happen. Like a lot of the matches we were looking forward to this weekend didn't happen. Alira as Demas, we wanted to see that. Didn't happen.
Glory Lee.
I actually feel like a lot of them did. I mean, there was
a lot of them did.
Yes, that did not happen, but there was a lot that did happen that I was excited about.
Somebody must have heard we were talking about Iowa State. We got a Lurker in the back of the studio.
Oh, Sion.
Sion's back.
Come here.
Sion making an appearance. But
you got the Iowa State shirt on. Right. CP's gone, so you can come on.
Come on, scoot in. Happy Thanksgiving, Sion.
Happy Thanksgiving.
How many turkeys you smoking?
Just one.
Okay.
Small one this year.
What'd you think of Iowa State's performance?
At the Daktronics Open?
Yes. David Carr almost lost.
I saw that.
He won, though.
But, that kid didn't get an upset the day before that.
Rob is good. He's having a good season so far.
Impressed.
Yeah.
Their 25-pounder, who's that?
Tarakina.
Well, the other one. The one that knocked out Brody Test.
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about him.
He's Hawaiian
as well.
That's what
I said. I don't know him. He's Hawaiian? That's not a Hawaiian name. That's
two Hawaiians.
Dude, if you're good at wrestling, if you're good at wrestling,
I thought he was Cuban.
If you're good at wrestling from Hawaii, you just go to Iowa State, basically.
Okay. Except for Travis Lee.
What I want to know where the Hawaii to Iowa State pipeline started.
Grant Nakamura.
I remember Grant Nakamura, and that's
Bobby
as far
Douglas
back as I can go. But like, then every other
whatnot
Hawaiian is just like, oh well.
There's Grant Nakamura, and then after that we had.
There's a bigger guy,
Dallas.
maybe 157 or something.
Bigger guy, 57.
25-pounder.
Well, there's been
and then there's
a handful of Hawaiians that have gone to Iowa State.
The other Tarakina, the older brother.
Pistano.
Yeah, that was.
Well.
And then Pistano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was another one who loved switching weight classes.
Bunch of weight classes.
Well, he went from it's like 84, 74, 65. He went backwards.
Mm-hmm.
When he was wrestling 215 in high school. And got all the way down.
Yeah.
National. I think he was better off at 84 because he was solid at 84, and then when he just kept jumping weight classes, I don't know, that weight cut probably killed him.
Yeah, I think that's enough. Probably Dane Pistano talk though.
Yeah,
that's what all the people want to hear about.
Sion was on the watch party this weekend. Viewership just through the roof with Sion on there.
I agree with you, man. You know, the fans want what the fans want.
Did you?
I wasn't even mean to. I didn't even say anything bad about Iowa.
Are you sure?
There we go.
I'm positive. I didn't say anything bad. I probably didn't say anything good either, but I didn't say anything bad.
What do you think of Penn State's lineup this year?
It's going to be interesting. They still got a weak spot at 57. 65 is still questionable.
Yeah,
weak
figuring
spot.
it out.
Yeah, but 25, you know, they got an All-American that transferred in, so that's shorted up.
Wait. Did that happen for sure?
I don't know. I thought I heard that. I thought I heard that.
See,
I thought I read
some
that
news?
somewhere.
Did you read that in a text from one of your personal friends?
No, man, I thought I read that on Flow. I thought you wrote that article.
No.
We got no such thing.
Are you breaking
There have
news?
been
I'm not
rumors
breaking any.
that
they're
A1
running
Drew
away right
Hildebrand
now.
transferred in, but
I'm not breaking any news. I read that somewhere.
I think you might have read that in a personal text between you.
I thought I read that. I thought you wrote it.
I don't think you're getting any more personal texts.
I don't know, but I read that somewhere. So, you know, I think that'll shore up 25 for him.
Yeah.
But Howard still ain't bad either. Wait, no, he's out. Forgot he's injured.
He's injured.
Yeah.
Sion, breaking news right here.
Not breaking any news.
Hey, where do you think Bo Bartlett's gonna finish this year? Is he gonna get on the All-American stand? He just had a solid win over Ogunsanya.
I think he'll
from
get
Army,
on the stand.
but
you know,
he's been wrestling close matches.
He had a year behind him. You know, he was solid last year. All his matches were close. I think he'll get on the podium at a 7th and 8th.
Okay, I think that's fair.
Yeah. You know, he also could surprise people.
Yeah.
But right now, you know, he's a solid wrestler. He's more for 41-pounder, but
Yep, he is.
yeah.
All right, Sion, last question for you. What does a See on Thanksgiving
Spread
course look like? Spread look like?
You know, we're gonna have turkey. We're gonna have ham.
Where's the spice coming in? I know you're putting something hot on the table.
Yeah, the turkey is. Well, actually, I'm not making a turkey this year. My neighbor's gonna make the turkey. We're all doing that together. But I'm making curry goat. That's gonna be pretty spicy.
Curry goat, baby. Ooh, that sounds good.
I know Ben doesn't like traditional Thanksgiving food, so he might like your.
I make curry goat. You know,
it's good. I've had your curry goat.
Some oxtail. So it'll be a nice spread. It regularly is a pretty nice spread. You know, I'll take a picture out for the next FRL.
All right.
Here we go.
There we go.
You know, the neighbors are all coming over. A couple of people from work, so it's regularly a good time. You know, everybody. Since we're all family down here in Texas and that work together, so I always invite whoever wants to come over. So it's regularly about 10, 12 people over every year.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Good deal. Did you watch the Stanford Cornell duel?
I did not see the Stanford Cornell duel. I watched just the one from the watch party. You know, the biggest upset of the weekend, where it goes from looking like you're going to be pinned to getting the pin at heavyweight.
Cassiope. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
And I brought back shades of Richard Soft doing that role.
I mean, yeah, you want to say, 9 times out of 10, Cassiope's going to win that match, but it was impressive the way Doug Arbino rolled him over like that. It makes you think, if Cassiope is big tone instead of slim tone, does he get rolled through?
A lot of people said that,
Yeah.
Like I said, Richard Soft, I think when that won the Lehigh match a few decades back for us. Of
course, we all remember this.
Yeah. I think they said the topic in the next day in the paper in Lehigh was Grace Hall was a rockin' until unheralded Richard Soft came a knockin'.
It's a good headline.
Oh my gosh. All right, Sion, what we got to talk about?
All right.
We got to talk about.
All right, I gotta go get to work.
Yanni.
Yeah.
Get to work. Thanks for
Everybody, have a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Thank you,
Thanksgiving.
Sion.
Thank you.
We got to talk about Griffith.
Richard Schaaf, Dane Pestano. These are really scintillating topics.
We got him covered.
Central Iowa fans are going to love this episode
Yes.
already so far.
Yes.
The fact that NCAA champ Shane Griffith lost and we're just now getting to it is astonishing. But let's get to it. Was it two? Do you think, Ben?
I say no.
I thought it was in the moment. Do I think it's control per se? Like, no.
Well, that's the answer.
You can't have control that far out, but like it's so regularly called.
He was like this.
Yeah.
I know, but it's so regularly called like that. Like in the moment, I thought like 2-2-2.
In the moment, I did not think so. And then as I went back and watched it, I kind of became convinced that they could have called it 2. I think it was close enough that.
But so remember, in that time though, Bray, he does have reaction time, right? So Ramirez can get the chance to keep moving. So I think that has an effect on it also.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You know, going back and rewatching, it's a lot of like, okay, slow-mo, watch it a million times. That's not how it happens in the match. You know, as I watched it live, I thought, oh, it's so super close. Okay, his hips are too far out. It's not 2.
Too far out.
But not that position on the edge where everybody's screenshotting, I didn't think was 2. There was a moment earlier when the hips were a little closer that I thought could have potentially been 2. If you're watching it in slow-mo and in hindsight and all that stuff. But in the live moment, I did not think so. I kind of became convinced later that it could have been, but it's a super close call. I don't think it's egregious.
I mean,
And
if it is called 2, it's not the worst call ever. You're not like, oh my god, that was such a terrible call. But if I'm the referee, I'm not calling 2 points there. I think the hips are too far out.
Yeah.
You can't control it. So I told Christian when we were discussing it, I look at it like 180 degrees is straight in front of each other. And so I want you to be at least past 90. Right here, past 90 to have control, right? Where I'm kind of behind him. He was out like this. I mean, we're talking 130, a big obtuse angle.
It's tough too, because like he had to maintain that obtuse angle to stay in bounds. So it's like
to stay in bounds.
Yeah, it's not like he couldn't have got behind him, but if he did, now it doesn't count.
He would circle out of bounds.
So it is a tough situation there. But like, I think it makes sense to me. That angle looked too far out. For me, if it was going to be 2, it was because a little bit earlier. But like you said, reaction time maybe takes that off the table.
And I wish the rule book was more or less objective, because it just kind of says when control is established, which obviously leaves it up to the official, where one official might look at that and go, that's 2, one might not. And I don't know what their review process was, but like it should be a different official reviewing that. I don't know if they did that or not, but if one official, because it's an objective call, the official on the mat looks at that and doesn't call it 2 and he reviews it, his opinion is not going to be different, because it wasn't like a bang bang call. You need to see
bang bang.
Was there time left on the clock? It's just be like an objective call. Yeah. Everyone saw he was behind the arms. It's just, do you think that's control or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they could definitely add a sentence in there, maybe to make it more clear on at what point it is too. Because I would say past 90 degrees and behind both arms, that's where you get to. Like, one thing that actually, it wasn't until I watched, the match I watched it in where I really started looking, it was Brent Metcalf and Franklin Gomez. I mean, the freestyle does very clearly say, and this is where a lot of people struggle because freestyle and folk style are not the same. You must be directly behind the hips.
Yeah.
Like, you must get all the way there. And so, like a folk style situation, for example, where I'm going to head outside on the mat with a high crotch and they step over and hook my ankle, they will still most likely be perpendicular to me. In freestyle, they don't call that a takedown. That's not 2, you got to get all the way behind. So folk style maybe could add a sentence in there that would make it more clear to which point that we get to. Because the other one that really annoys me in folk style that the referees don't call, and I think it's a lot, they just don't understand scrambling, is when the bottom guy, right, then there's no bottom guy technically, but the guy on bottom reaches back and grabs the leg that's closer to him. Okay.
Yes.
If it's the one that's further away, that is a back hook situation. That is not going to be a takedown. Unless the guy breaks his lock, it's not going to be a takedown. But when they grab the front leg like this, it's like the bottom guy has nothing. They literally have nothing. It is full control by the top man. Call it too, but then the referee stuck saying, "Well, he has a leg." And it's like, no, it does, right? So a few more sentences could make more clear what is and what is not a takedown.
For sure.
So
yeah, I agree. They could definitely add some clarity there.
I'm totally confused by Griffith and Ramirez. Ramirez just lost to Matt Lee, and Matt Lee's just not that good. He kind of got hammered by one of my high school guys at UWW Juniors last year. And so, like, I don't know what to think about Ramirez. Do I think, oh my gosh, Ramirez is now an NCAA qualifier or NCAA contender, or do I think he's got lucky in one match, or he had a really good match, maybe Griffith had a bad match? Like, what do you guys make of this?
Well, when you beat an NCAA champ, normally you move higher in the rankings than 15, right? But that's where he is, and that loss that you're referencing it keeps him there. The other thing that keeps him as low as 15. Yeah, the other thing that keeps him as low as 15 is look who's at 14, Cam Amin. You've got an All-American that far down the rankings, and so the way I think about Ramirez is not necessarily that he's an serious All-American threat, but that 165 pounds, which was already a really deep weight, is now got another guy in there that can beat somebody that's an NCAA champ level guy, which just it adds a ton of depth. So I don't know that I'm like, okay, Ramirez to the podium, but I don't want to see him in the round of 16.
People are going to be big mad at the 165 rankings moving forward.
Well, yeah, I'm annoyed obviously that you put Marinelli 1.
He's number 1 by attrition, right? Like it is.
Well, I think you can make serious arguments for Evan and Keegan, but yeah, I get it.
Well, you absolutely can.
The tough thing with Evan is that those head-to-head, the resume head-to-head
matchups, but they've been a while now. It's been a while since that's happened.
That's true.
It's tough when Marinelli forfeits out of the NCAA tournament, and that's why he doesn't wrestle back for a third. We could have possibly seen him and Keegan wrestle on the backside of NCAA's last year, but he didn't wrestle. Yeah. And when you take the stance that injury defaults do not count, and you just look at Marinelli's season last year, he only took one loss, and it was to Shane Griffith, the NCAA champ.
Yeah,
who obviously lost. But when Keegan loses to Wenzel, who just took a fairly bad loss as well this past weekend, it kind of evens out, so to say.
The other guy we're not talking about at 165 is our man, what's his name? Brian Meyer. Brian Meyer's
not very good, though. I looked him up, bro.
I did, too.
He was 4-6 last year, and 3 of his wins were at EIWAs.
He he took a loss his first match of the year to Troy Nation.
That's not a good loss.
I don't know who Troy Nation is.
I'm not familiar with Troy Nation's work, but
I'll tell you. So let me tell you the problem with Wenzel. And this is a very common problem in wrestling. I've seen with many people. I talk to my wrestlers about it. When you have a very specific style that is limited offensively, and you raise your profile of who you are, people wrestle you differently. Yeah. When you have limited offensive options, all of a sudden every match is going to be close because everyone now is saying that's Jake Wenzel. He's an NCAA finalist. If I can just keep it close, if I just don't get my butt kicked, this is going to be great. So that's what they're saying to him. And then obviously the other thing, and that shot started with the head inside. He's really good from the head outside. And that's like, when me and Keegan talked about the loss, it was like, well, Keegan, why'd you keep going head outside? You kept going to it. And it's like that was very clearly his best position. You don't have to beat someone in the best position. You have a great head inside single. You have a great arm drag. You have lots of other weapons. Like, don't use the one that's he's got the best chance of beating.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think the skill set that Wenzel has is really specific, and if people watch him and they're paying attention, and they are now because he's an NCAA finalist, the recipe, he's going to lose a handful of matches this year would be my prediction.
Yeah. It also appears, looking at Pitt's just up and down the lineup in that duel, and then even the week before, they haven't peaked for these early season events, which is fine. And if
they shouldn't.
They shouldn't. And if their team's taking some losses now, I don't think that's a reason to, sound the alarm bells or anything.
Hines took out Philippi.
Yeah, Philippi.
In all fairness, Philippi was winning and got beach whaled with 3 seconds left. So
also
beach whaled.
Also in defense of Hines, he was winning most of that match, and then Philippi came in late, and then he did get defensive fault at the end. Do make things worse, Lehigh, when they tweeted out the final score, whatever, the graphic they used was Hines' defensive fall. And in the still picture, Philippi is dead flat.
Oh, I think he was pinned. I don't think it's a.
You just don't see it called
you don't
that
see it
quick
pinned.
very often.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've got the video here. It'll happen here in a couple seconds.
Yeah. No, this is absolutely a pin, though.
Yeah. I mean, he's pinned 1, 2, a full 2 seconds
pinned.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
So, I mean, that's a huge swing in the duel because that's minus. That's
a 9-point
swing. Yeah, it's pretty big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, Lehigh's always got a pretty good team too.
Look at that angle they had on that still image.
Yeah, I hope Mickey's not watching and stayed off Twitter.
Yeah. So Lehigh does have a pretty solid team though, but they're a team. We talk about this issue all the time where, I mean, you could see them potentially getting 8 NCAA qualifiers or somewhere in there, and then 0 of them All-Americaning. I mean, they
had 10 NCAA qualifiers last year and 0 All-Americans, right?
Yeah, I mean, Lehigh's had some up and down results. I mean, they won 26-9 over Pitt, which I don't think anybody would have predicted that score. But then they took a loss to Campbell, and I don't know that people necessarily would have predicted that. Those two teams are really similar teams, but
matchups can make duels.
Yeah. So
matchups make, especially when you're a bunch of guys that are say between 10 and 25, matchups make duels for sure.
But getting back to 165, I mean, Brian Meyer knocks off NCAA finalist from last year. He and Ramirez both took out they took out the 2 NCAA finalists for 165.
And have odd losses.
And they have odd losses, and they're 15th and 16th in the country. So that round of 16 at NCAAs, if it ends up, playing out even relatively similar to what the rankings are right now, that's a very interesting bracket.
Yeah, Karchla and oh man, what's the guy? Clayton Ulrey was kind of fun. I'm just I'm looking at these rankings, and he's right above there. Karchla looked, I would say good, not great though. I mean,
I'm wondering if that knee injury and the big brace is inhibiting his offensive output. A little bit.
I mean, from what I remember of him, it was primarily freestyle, right? And he would get one takedown and then generally get a whole bunch of gut wrenches. And so it also might have made him look significantly more dynamic than he really was because we weren't watching him in folk style matches. And Ulrey is good, not great. I don't think he's in your rankings
he made
yet.
Was it the cadet or junior world team?
Well, he lost to Keegan in the finals of the junior world trials, I think. I don't know if there was another time.
He's solid.
He's solid. So, yeah, that was a good, not great performance out of Karchla. It'd be interesting to see where he goes next. Peyton Hall beat Thomas Bullard. Yeah, this weight class is a lot of fun. There's a ton of parity here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, can I talk about the Yanni match? I thought Jaden Abas should have been stalled on the match. So I'm going to actually give myself a win on that one on the weekend bet results because that referee didn't want to call stalling. The dude just ran backwards. And then whenever Yanni faked, he went down to his knees. How are you supposed to score on that? This is crap. Stalling. It is stalling. It's literally the definition.
You wanted Yanni called for stalling?
No! What?
Abas.
Are you high? The other guy literally moved backwards the entire time. And then when Yanni would fake, he would drop to his knees literally every single time. He shot twice, I think, and he actually was kind of stingy in those scrambles, which was semi-impressive. But when they were in the open, for the most part, he was moving backwards. And when he was faking, he would drop to both knees. It was freaking crazy. They didn't call more.
So they called those first 2, he got called twice in the first period.
Yes, and I don't know why it didn't continue.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't hate it in the first period because I was kind of in the same position as you. I was like, yeah, I don't know. One guy's clearly being the aggressor. I remember I was watching it with Spay, and Spay was like, oh, I don't know, that's early. And it is, you don't see it called like that very often in folk style. But I agreed with it. I guess it could have continued, but it was a weird match. And then the shoelace thing, which we can get into.
That was weird, huh?
I hate how Yanni got a point from that because, well, first of all, isn't it the wrestler's responsibility to cover the shoelaces?
Yes. So they just say. I mean, I think the definition you can't have them come untied, so you can cover them. But yeah, I mean, the chances you get a hold of a shoelace in your fingertips is like,
and like clearly,
I wouldn't even want that. I'm worried about fingers getting hurt.
Clearly, Jaden didn't mean to interlock his fingers into the shoelaces. So, like, it's not a horse collar situation like in football where you're grabbing something on purpose and using it.
Yeah.
It didn't help him. He clearly did like interlace and pull a little bit on the foot, and then the referee caused some chaos too when he tossed up the wrong 1 point for the wrong guy.
Yeah, I
the officiating in that whole duel was maybe not great. Yeah.
The Ramirez thing. Yeah, I would have sure liked to see more stalling called in that match, because that would have then, right? The reason we have stalling is to create action, because if you could just stall and it was the most effective technique, everyone would just stall.
Yeah.
The reason we penalize it is so one person can't do that. I mean, that is literally
that wouldn't have happened in freestyle, because if you are advancing in freestyle like that, they'll hit the other guy. I'm just saying.
But he was supposed to in folk style too. The ref just didn't make the call. It should happen in folk style as well.
Yeah. You think that's the stalling thing? You think that's why Yanni was so fired up at the end?
It has to be, because the guy. I mean, right? This is his first duel back in how long? 3 years or something? And the other wrestler will minimally engage with him. Yeah, I would be. I would have just stood up and did this at him. Listen, I did that a couple times, so don't tell me I wouldn't. I would have bam,
hit the Gable
bam. Let's go. Get over here and wrestle me like a man. That's what I would have. I would have went nuts on him.
Would you have done this one? Would you have done the crybabies?
I was curious what that was for. I didn't see it in a small Twitter video.
Somebody in the corner must have been really complaining
about the the calls at the end. And Cole left. Cornell.
That was really interesting to me throughout the duel. I mean, the Friedman Center is a really hostile environment. I love that they put like the non-starters in that little carve out right by the mat. It's like it's right on camera. It's amazing.
Right behind the bench.
I did not know the level of hostility that we would see in that duel. I was curious because it's Rob Cole. He's been there forever. I think the guys have a pretty good relationship with him, but they were not gonna take it easy on Stanford's coaching staff because Coach Coles is in there. I mean, maybe like raise the level of intensity a little bit. That was a great dual environment.
Very good.
It was.
Yes.
Both those teams will be at CKLV, so we could get some rematches.
Yeah, I mean the other thing that you kind of think about with that match is that without the penalty points, and listen, I am advocating for more penalty points, but without the penalty points, it is 1-1.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yanni did not get a takedown, and he wasn't really all that close in those scrambles. Jaden Abas did a pretty good job at and it's again, Jaden Abas wasn't, in my opinion, trying to finish those scrambles. A lot of times he was just trying to hang on and not get scored on, but Yanni didn't get that close.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I mean, how big a difference does it make that he's been ultra freestyle focused for 2 years? I don't know. Maybe that matters, right? I would think it would have some impact.
Yeah, a little bit, for sure. Maybe forgot how to cradle people.
Yeah.
On a few of those, I would have, if I was coaching him, I would have advocated more attacking. I always talk about, so now this is high-level wrestling stuff, but when they have your leg, right, they are essentially blocking themselves on the one side. So then your job is then to anchor that leg into the mat, attack the other side of their body and jam their legs into their head. And if you do that, you're going to have a cradle. Their only way out then is to let go of the leg to free themselves on that side, right? And in that case, you get an easy takedown. So I would have advocated for Yanni to attack the legs more. And in a couple of situations, he was just trying to go behind.
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about both him and Vito up?
That was interesting. Are we sure they're going to stay there? Is that a guarantee, or are they playing with us?
That's exactly my question.
I don't think it's a guarantee.
I want to see the weigh-in sheet. I want to know what those guys weighed and what they're thinking descent plan. Like if they both weighed within striking distance of being down for CKLV, then that's really telling. I didn't get the sense that
I mean, CKLV is only a couple weeks away. They would have had to weigh in fairly light, especially Vito.
That's why I want to see the weigh-in sheet. And if
release the tapes, Cornell.
Yeah, so
release the emails.
That's what I want to know because
get WikiLeaks on it.
You looked at Greg D at 25 and Handlovich at 41, and those guys aren't keeping these two out of the lineup at those weights if they want to go up, or go down. So I don't feel like that the book is closed on 25 and 41.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, but I also think there's not great replacements the other way either. So I think it's just kind of where those two are comfortable. I'm not sold that they're staying there. It will be interesting to see what happens as they move forward.
Yeah, I think 40 for Yanni, 41 or 49. 41 is not quite as deep as 49. For Vito, 25 not quite as deep as 33.
Well, but 41 at the top.
Sorry, 49 is not quite as deep as 41.
Yes.
I don't know what I said, but 49 not quite as deep as 41. For Vito, 25 not quite as deep as 33. So if they're thinking about their individual chances of winning titles, or
but
being in the
if
finals,
you're Vito, the thought of possibly knocking off Spencer could be either alluring or makes you want to go 33.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. All right, we got so much more to get to, I feel like, because this weekend was just really wild. Can we talk
also
Ohio State, Virginia Tech? Because that was so much
Darmstadt. Did Cardenas?
Where is he?
97. I don't. I think Cardenas is just good, and maybe
Cardenas is good.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he's great.
Yeah. Sad Tuesday for Ben. And
sad
CP.
Tuesday, if that is true. We don't know that it's true.
Minor setback for a major comeback, in my opinion.
Where do we
Ohio State,
Virginia Tech.
Latona is struggling early this year. I mean, Malik Heinzelman continues to get better, so that's
a big
for him.
Like possible catapult win for Malik. And I'm wondering if Latona is struggling with weight. He is a notoriously big 125. And there's two ways you can look at it moving forward for him. It's does your body adjust and you get more used to it, or is the grind of the season and making weight week in and week out wear on you? I feel like there's two ways that can go sometimes. Mm-hmm. But overall, that duel was super fun. Came down to the heavies, and that match was fun because it was close.
Yeah. That duel was very interesting. Sasso and Andonian, I could watch those guys all day. It was a great match.
I'm sad I lost on that bet because we were it was 2.5, great odds. JD, you made the line where it should have been. I lost by half a point. I'm not happy about that. But that match was so fun. I actually thought, there's so much going on in this match. I think the original 2 I didn't actually think was 2. But the other thing, I talked about Jake Wenzel. Why Bryce Andonian chose to shoot head inside singles a couple times, I don't really know what he was thinking there. That's about the worst position to put yourself in against Sammy Sasso. So if I was him, if I was his coach, I would advise him to not shoot head inside singles moving forward. But that match was so much fun, and they really mix it up in different positions.
It's fun too because Sasso's got that nice underhook kind of throw by a lot of times to a single.
Yeah.
But Andonian's like, oh, you want to underhook me? All right, I'll grab this overhook and we'll have some fun.
But that's another. So I feel like Andonian loves overhook, but I think he lost that position every time, right?
Yeah, because Sasso, at least for the first takedown, I think maybe later in the match too. I got to go back and rewatch. Got that little underhook kind of throw by. But Sasso's dangerous, or Andonian is dangerous from everywhere. Like, who gets as many reversals as this man?
Yeah, it's great.
I know, I love him. He's turning into must-watch TV.
He really is. And that's why CP was kind of whining about CP was whining a little bit about some certain guys not being as active in folk style as they're in freestyle, and just the same people. But then you get matches like this one. This one was just a great match, top to bottom, and really the whole duel. So I mean, I don't want to start the freestyle folk style because I enjoy them both.
Yeah.
But this match was so much fun, and I think it was like a prime example of why folk style can be so much fun.
my biggest complaint about the Sasso Andonian match was we did see a challenge. We did not see the challenge block, kicked, thrown, otherwise, removed from the mat. That's
the man notoriously hates challenge bricks.
I really wanted to see it. We didn't get to see it.
That would have been awesome.
Another takeaway from that duel, Makai looks very good at 74.
Yeah,
that
match was
Ethan
awesome.
wrestled them really well. It was a good match.
Yeah,
It got super heated too. That made it really fun. Like that. Yeah.
The Virginia Tech Ohio State is kind of turned into a little bit of a rivalry, and I love it.
Yes, it really is.
It's fun. So
Yeah,
more
definitely
ACC
don't
Big
they
Ten.
don't they always wrestle early in the season? I feel like these two.
Yeah, because then I think second half you get into your conference. More your conference schedule, but more ACC versus Big Ten, please.
I think at least this is at least the
fun.
third time. I think at least the third time we've seen this duel recently, and so I hope they just keep it going. It's an amazing matchup.
Especially because Virginia Tech's getting a lot of Ohio kids also. I mean, that helps. Andonian's an Ohio kid. Connor Brady's an Ohio kid. Is there anyone else in the lineup? Who did they recruit this year from Ohio? Definitely somebody.
Yeah, let me pull that up.
Okay. Ulray's from Pennsylvania. So I feel like they have a whole bunch of recruiting battles as well. I feel like for whatever reason some kids are excited in both of these schools.
They don't have any 2022 Ohio guys right now. It's Caleb Henson, TJ Stewart, and Tom Crook.
Okay, maybe I lied. That's good recruiting class though.
Mm-hmm.
Virginia Tech does a good job of getting some of those Southern guys too.
Yes.
NC
How
State.
about Princeton, Iowa?
Yeah, the other Friday night duel. There's a couple ways to go with this one. You want to talk about Gloria not wrestling and Spencer Lee not wrestling?
Yeah, there was. I was receiving text messages, and listen, they both showed up. I don't really give a damn who's saying what. Neither one of you showed up. Whatever, zip it.
Yeah, for those who don't know the backstory, obviously, it came out earlier in the week that Ibarra was going to be the guy for Iowa. Pat Gloria makes the trip to Iowa, but does not wrestle. After the duel, Coach, was it Dubuque Ayers? I think Ayers.
Ayers.
I think
Coach
Ayers. Yeah.
Tweets out a lot of misinformation out there. Our guy came for one guy. He wasn't going to wrestle, so we didn't wrestle. And then, there were Iowa fans and Big Jim Kelly, people on the ground saying Gloria was trying to make weight, couldn't. At the end of the day, who really cares?
You both didn't wrestle.
Yeah.
But that duel itself, I mean, it started at 25, and by 149, it was 20-0. It was like Iowa is just going to completely run away with this, and that's going to be the entire story. Is even Iowa with, I know Ibarra didn't wrestle, but that's a backup at 25. They got a forfeit, and then at 49, Kobe Seabrick, Tech, in the first period, it was like, okay, man, this is looking like just Iowa's going to run away with every single match, and then things got a little more interesting.
57 Monday looked really good, I thought. Yep. He looked smooth. That double he hit with the clean finish on Young was nice. He'll be a guy at 57, definitely to watch. And
just like the showmanship, the way he stepped out of that shot at the end, it's like, okay, you're down. Princeton's down 20-0 now in one win. It didn't erase those 20 points, but it felt very different.
Moody on the mic said he was talking to Brands mid-match too, so I love it.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously I know a lot of people are paying attention. You want to get the Del Garbino and Gassiopi thing out of the way. Gassiopi got pushed a little too hard, got off balance, he got decked. I don't know that it's ever going to happen again. My man from Princeton partied on him. Is there anything else to say?
No, not really.
That's it, right?
That's it.
Okay, well, the big news is, why in the hell is Nelson Brands at 174? To me, I'll just tell you, listen, I'm an outsider. I have no inside knowledge of that program. That says there's issues with Michael Kemmerer, and they're not sure if he's going to be able to make it through the season, because if Nelson's your best option at 184, and
I'm not sure if Nelson's best option at 84.
Well, look, Abasad just lost to Clayton Whiting, a high school kid, last week.
What I want to know, so Abasad didn't wrestle in the duel, but he wrestled in the extra match.
Yes.
Were they trying to get Miles Wilson, time as the starter and Carver?
But why didn't they do Miles the extra match also?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. So hold on.
I don't know what the heck is going
on. Let me break this down. JD. Okay. If 84, you're not like, oh my gosh, Abasad's going to go place in the top 4. You're not thinking that right now at this point in the season. You're probably not thinking about Miles Wilson also. There's a decent chance. I will say more decent. I will say there's a high likelihood that Nelson Brands is your best option at 184. He was solid last year, not great, but he's had a year to get better. If he is still the best option, you got a top 3 guy at 174. Why are you going to cut him all the way down to 174?
Yeah, it was surprising.
Yeah, you're not. So there is a reason why he's down there, and that reason's got to be Michael Kemmerer is having health issues, is going to either wrestle on a bridge schedule, or they're not sure if he's going to be full strength by the end of the year. I mean, it's really one of those two things.
I don't know. When you're listening to Tom Brand's interviews, it feels a little bit like you're trying to crack a code. But one of the themes I think for this lineup is I think in talk, and I think maybe this is something we're seeing not just at Iowa but some other places. I think in talking a lot of these guys into coming back to use that extra year of eligibility, I think that there may have been a conversation that we want you back. We want to make this, a season where you're not weighing in as often, where we're not putting that strain on your body as often, and also where we are helping to develop the starters for 2022, 2023. And sure. So I think some of this stuff may have been conversations that happened for a while out. So that I think maybe accounts for why no Spencer, no Murin, no a number of guys, 74, 97, but
okay, but those don't make sense. But here's the deal.
But then why Nelson? Sorry, so I heard one of the things I heard about Nelson was I heard that he in the offseason considered trying to make a run at the 65 spot. And so if he had been thinking that way,
take a bull.
Yeah, that's a rumor. That's a rumor that I heard. And so if he was making that kind of concerted effort and shrunk his body down,
where he was 2 years ago,
then he may
3
not.
years ago.
Well, when he wrestled 84 2 years ago, that was like he bumped way up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But so I don't,
he was 65.
If that's true, if that's at all part of the equation that he was thinking about trying to make that descent, then maybe he's just not that big yet. Maybe
I
he's
think
still
74 is a better weight class probably for him.
Yeah, I don't think this. Yeah. I don't necessarily take this as there's something drastically wrong with Kemmerer.
Why
maybe
not?
This is where
that's what you got to.
Well, but it would be if Kemmerer was the only starter that sat out. But Kemmerer.
But here's the problem. Okay, I'm gonna get Iowa's lineup up just to. So okay, if you're Nelson Brands and your goal is to be an All-American, is that fair? Like that's a fair goal?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, he was 1 and 2 in NCAAs last year. He took 4th place at Big Tens. Like he's not there, but he's also not that far away from being there. He's knocking on the door, bro. 10 pounds is a lot of weight. Like even if he's only naturally, let's say naturally he's 183, 182. That's still 9 pounds, right? He still has to cut that weight to make that weight class. And if you're worried about making 174, that's going to be it's going to make you less effective at 184 where you're trying to be an All-American. And if your goal is, why would you be going down for these I don't want to say irrelevant duels, right? But a lot of people say March is all that matters. And Iowa has other people who could fill in at 174. Even if you got to bump someone up for a duel and give Nelson or someone else an extra match, right? They can do that. So I just don't know why they wouldn't have done that. I don't know why, if you really want Nelson to be the guy at 84 and want an All-American, why you'd be cutting him down all that weight to make weight at 174 for a duel. Like, I feel like he's going to be here for a while. And I feel like there also has to be a longer-term plan. Not meaning 2023 NCAAs, meaning the 2022 season.
The thing is, for me, toss out All-Americaning. Where are you going to start versus Michael Kemmerer or Abasad? It's Abasad. And then you look into the TBD that they listed as the probable lineup, and you can dig too much into that. I have a hard time envisioning a scenario where, especially if Kemmerer's on a super pitch count, where he's not healthy enough to go at the end of the year at 74. You know, unless they're keeping something super under wraps, a very serious injury.
I mean, why else would you cut your best option 84 down to 74?
Like I said, maybe they had a wrestle off and Assad beat him.
Okay, I mean that would be reasonable if Abe Assad is very clearly beating Nelson Brands, that would be a good reason to cut.
And then
down,
he says, I'm not big for 74. Like, I can cut there fairly easily, and Kimmer's going to be on a pitch count. I'm going to get more time at 74. Then he goes 74 because it's not a big deal for him to make 74, and he gets starts. But then why wrestle Abe Assad in the extra match, not the duel? Maybe they wanted to get Wilson some time in the starting lineup, I guess. So,
I mean, if you look at
that's where I think it's
the 84 rankings, Nelson's beaten the number 11. He's beaten the number 14. He's beaten the number 16. He's beaten the number 18. I mean, this dude's got a lot of wins over guys that are in the rankings at 184.
He had a solid season last year.
Yeah.
Think about Nelson Brands, the trajectory of his career. He was 165 during his redshirt year. His freshman year in the 2020 season, he wrestled at both 84 and 74. Last year was the only year he was up at 84 the entire time, and I think that was because he was beating Assad, and from what we heard, Assad didn't have the most productive offseason.
Well, Assad, wasn't he kind of injured? Wasn't there that out there too?
He may have been.
I don't think he wrestled a match last year at all. But even in the extra matches.
If Nelson Brands in the offseason was like thinking, what are the things that I need to do to be like the best possible version of Nelson Brands? It might have been a lot of training that shrunk his body. It might have been, if he's having good goes with Marinelli in the room and he's beating him in the room, maybe that's what he's really thinking is like, I'm going to get this spot at 65. I don't know. I just think that a lot of these Iowa guys, they really, and you hear Brands talk about it in the preseason, like the young guys, they really think they have a legit.
Don't take a back seat.
They think they have a legit shot at winning. That's the whole, like, that's a lot of the rumors and stuff circulating about 133 at the Luther Open was that like there's this contention between DeSanto and what's his name? Yeah, because I think they really.
But you're also
really think they're going to win.
Okay, but so that's that's not to me. That's not the same deal because if you're at Schriever and you're 33, that's where you are. But if you're Brands and you're looking at lineup and you're thinking, I want to win another NCAA title, and I got my most effective guy at 84 is going to be a backup at 74, like that's not a good strategy.
Yeah.
It should be, let's freaking figure this out in October or early November, and then let's have you go where you're most effective, and let's try to get you some really good wins. And let's look. Obviously, this Princeton match, there wasn't a good 84 pounder. Hold on, but I'll look at Iowa's schedule. But we got Iowa State. So we got they got Oregon State this weekend. Oregon State's got Trey Munoz. That's a good 84 pounder. Iowa State
be until second semester.
Okay, damn it. Iowa State has a solid 84 pounder. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, we could start racking up these wins for Nelson Brands at 184 and to put him in a good spot to have a great seat at NCAAs. And now he's weighing in at 174, and so he's going to bump up to 84. I mean, that's just like, I don't know. I got to think there's something more to it because there's no way that is the strategy. If he's the most effective 84 pounder. And they really have the camera option at 74 because he's already been in the NCAA finals.
Yeah. It's
just not a great strategy.
It'll be an interesting saga to follow throughout the year.
Yes.
When was the last time there was a question like this about a returning national championship team with the same guys? Like not a guy graduating or a new guy coming in, but the exact same set of guys, and you don't know what the heck is going on at a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, really, this is the only year ever where all 10 people will return for all teams.
Yeah,
I mean, some guys, departed.
But. Yeah, some guys, not all that many. All right.
Yeah. Let's move on.
That was interesting for me. We'll see in the next couple weeks. I mean, hopefully we'll be getting some more answers. Obviously, they're at the national duels is the end of December, and then they got Midlands. So by December 30th, which is a month and a week away, we should have some really good answers for the Iowa team. Because, I mean, if Kemmer or some of these guys haven't wrestled by the December 30th date, they're really limiting their ability to qualify for the NCAA championships and get a good seed, right? Because you need 15 matches minimum, and so they're going to have to start getting some matches in.
This season, the past 2 seasons, kind of, I think will only help and encourage the push to make Division I wrestling a one-semester sport. Last season it was just a one-semester sport. And then you hear a lot of coaches saying, yeah, last season showed us you don't need that grind of 4 months or whatever of season. Some coaches are still basically wrestling the same thing, but we talked about it. Mark Branch, that's the reason the Cowboy Open has moved back, is he goes, I don't want my guys wrestling at that level for that long.
Yeah, he's really he's the one coach that like actually did something about it. Like you hear a lot of coaches say,
guys aren't wrestling their starters.
Yeah, he said we should start. Yeah, that's true. Some guys aren't wrestling their starters, but
you have to think like that's a why Iowa didn't wrestle some of those guys. It probably, health issues or whatever. We know Spencer freaking doesn't have ACLs anymore. So basically has to be on a pitch count, But
I think Branch is the only one that like totally overhauled the schedule. I mean, the Cowboy Open used to be like the first weekend every
November
year.
1st, 2nd, or 3rd.
They changed like, and that's, you host a big open tournament. That's a part of what you expect as revenue for your program. They moved it to the end of November, pushed it back like 3 or 4 weeks, knowing that it's going to cost them entry fee money. It's going to be a much smaller tournament this year. None of their starters have wrestled any matches. That's totally on purpose. And so I don't know. I'm very curious. But like when we talked to Branch about that last year, and we're like, well, if coaches have known for a long time that the season's too long, why don't they just push it back? And he's like, they're afraid of missing out. They're afraid if they're going to lose their edge if other guys are competing. But they're actually like, they've actually modified their schedule for like all the starters this year. Nice. I'm curious to see if it makes a difference or not. But
I don't hate. I think so. I think what happened last year, I think it was too short for a lot of people. Because you need those matches, you need to be able to make adjustments. But yes, like in early November matches, that makes the season almost 5 months. I can actually see their argument on that one to make it a little shorter. And I mean, the thing I think I would really try to do, and I've been looking at some schedules. Some programs have definitely done this. I think I was looking at either Pitt or Virginia Tech or Ohio State. I was looking at all their schedules, so I don't know. I don't remember which one it was. But get a whole bunch of early season matches in, and then have a 3 to 4 week break, right? So where you're going, maybe you're going open tournament, couple duels, Cliff Keen, a duel right after that, and then you have a 3 to 4 week break till early January matches. You're skipping Scuffle and Midlands or something to that effect. Because you get to see what you guys got, get some matches in, and then you get to go start making adjustments to whatever they've been struggling with, right? Oh, hey, we didn't see this coming. You're really having trouble with leg ride defense. Let's freaking grind on that for 3 to 4 weeks. Or you're having trouble finishing your single. Let's grind on that. Stuff like that. Maybe, hey, you got a few dings after that stretch. Hey, let's let you sit out for a week or 10 days of practice, heal up, and then get back after it. So that's kind of where my mind would be. Because you do want to see these guys in competition. It is generally different than practice. Even practice matches, the real competitions are different. They absolutely are, and you want to see guys in there. So I would probably try to do something like that. Obviously, if you're not on the Big Ten would be the most difficult because you have all those really tough Big Ten duels. So that's where maybe a different team in an easier conference can maybe wrestle Midlands and then take a 2 to 3 week break after that. Right, where they're not wrestling another tough duel until late January.
Yeah.
What do you think? Hate it? Love it?
No, I love it. You need those like peaks and valleys in your training schedule. Like that's kind of like you could look at like CKLV almost as like kind of like a little false summit. Like, hey, let's really work towards CKLV. See how you perform there, or insert Midlands or X tournament there. And then, kind of taper off just a little bit, reassess. like you said, couple week break or whatever, and then start gearing up towards March.
Yeah, there's so much value.
We would.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I think there's so much value in the training that happens when there's not the pressure of making weight and competing right around the corner.
Yes.
And for most NCAA wrestlers, that is like only in the off season. During the season, it's like there's always a weigh-in around the corner. There's always a competition around the corner. And so you know, it's harder to focus on the improvement of the actual wrestling and in the wrestling positions. It's harder to focus on that when you're always thinking about making weight and you're always thinking about
a 2 or 3 week block
competition.
where it's literally just where can I get better? What do I need to work on?
Yeah.
And not have to worry about necessarily getting a good, tough workout in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Coach Smith would usually schedule for us, and maybe I have false memories, but Coach Smith would generally schedule that for us before Big 12s, right? So we would, we would generally have a mid-February duel, and then nothing later in February, and then so it would be generally a 3-week-ish break until the Big 12s, so you get that kind of little bit of downtime where you're not competing and then get to ramp back up for those last 2 tournaments.
Also, like mentally, it's a nice little reset.
Yes.
Versus just constantly looking at competition, my next match, preparing for this individual, this thing, whatever. So.
Yep.
Do we want to move on to the other Saturday night duel, Oklahoma State, Minnesota?
That was fun. There's kind of a lot of takeaways from that. Freaking Patrick McKee! What are you doing, bro? I know why didn't I go with Mastro Giovanni?
So our weekend bets, for the record, I did nice. UNCP
Everyone
did
lost
not.
that one.
Yes, but as soon as we all went McKee, I said, okay, that means Mastro's at least gonna cover. He didn't just cover; he won and looked very good doing it. Yes.
Yeah,
and
looked great.
To me, I think I take away from that Mastro made strides and is very good. McKee like we said, McKee took a lot of losses last year.
Sometimes he looked really bad in that one, didn't he?
Yeah,
I thought he looked like McKee. Maybe not the NCAA's McKee, but like I said, I take more out of that. McKee still could ball out and place, top 5 at NCAAs again. He took 3rd last year. But I also look at that and go, okay, Mastro could also be a top 5 guy.
Yeah. I mean, last year, 125 after Spencer, it was a big question. Who are we going to see? I don't think a lot of people would have picked Pat McKee that high on the podium. I mean, the losses he had were a lot like the losses that a lot of guys had at 125 last year. He lost to Cronin, lost to Barnett. We didn't know he was going to be an All-American. He lost to Dylan Shaver, lost to D'Agostino, Ragusin, Latona. All like fine losses, but not losses that you would say, okay, this guy's going to be 3rd at NCAAs. So a loss to Mastro to me is right in that category of those losses. And I think the weight is tough for McKee. This is not, I don't know, this is not totally out of the question. It's just like after he finished so high at NCAAs to have that loss, you're like, whoa, what the heck? And it put Mastro's win, moved him up in the rankings and put Oklahoma State back into top 4 trophy contention in the rankings. So, man, this weight class again is still vulnerable after the top 5.
I was pretty, so obviously they had the Carter Young loss, which we can discuss that. I actually thought Oklahoma State looked really good. Mm-hmm. And when I think about their lineup, if they can optimize and have all their guys healthy, their high end on their guys is kind of high. So Mastro looked great. You think, especially 125 is not super deep. He can start making his way up there. Dayton's obviously high. Carter Young did not look great, but we have a high ceiling for him. G. Feller has been very up and down. Ceiling's high. Wyatt Sheets got killed, but he obviously is All-American. Whitlake's ceiling is high. Plot, we saw a very injured Plot last year. He looked good, beating Kradiger. Same thing with Gear. High ceiling. He's been up and down. Ferrari's obviously NCAA champion. Heavyweight's the one weight where I'm like, they don't really have anything there. But that's 9 weights where their ceiling, right? Their floor is relatively low.
I mean, Austin Harris made the round of 12
really
last year for them, and now they're going with Serber. So that kind of shows you where he's at in the pecking order. He's not up there yet in the rankings, but that's because he personally doesn't have those signature wins.
So if they can stay healthy, man, and they can wrestle to their potentials, it could be really, really good.
The point about their ceiling being high is really good. I mean, yeah, for sure. That's really a great point. And the one guy that everybody was curious to see was Carter Young. He had those incredible wins at senior nationals or world team trials, whichever it was, world team trials. But he obviously didn't look good. But Ben, from your perspective, like Carter Young, he's in on so many shots, and finishing was the issue. Is that an adjustment that you think he can make like relatively easily, or are those situations where he's gonna have trouble?
Yeah. So the one thing, and I don't know much about this Berglund guy. I looked him up, and his I'll look him up again so I don't mess this up. But it wasn't all that impressive. But the one thing I mean, I was pretty impressed by the wrestling that I saw. So this is Berglund's 5th year in college, so it's not like he's a new guy. He has a loss to Clay Carlson this year, but he beat Marcus Polanco, who I think was an NCAA qualifier last year. You look at his results last year; they were okay. He had one loss to Griffith, and all the rest were kind of like extra matches. The match was won or lost in one position. Mm-hmm. It was Carter Young shooting a single leg to Berglund's left leg. So it could just be that Berglund has great defense on that one leg. We didn't really see a whole bunch of other things. And so that's where Carter Young, it's like, maybe he's so used to finishing on, like, you should have done something else. You could have snapped out an arm drag, shoot a high crotch to the other side, shoot a double leg, shoot a low single, but it was a regular single to the same exact side. So we saw that one scramble kind of over and over again. And Berglund, flexibility was impressive. He seemed to know how to move the right way. I thought on the one takedown, so from a technical perspective, I thought Carter Young definitely did the wrong thing, and it almost looked to be a little bit desperate where Berglund passed him, and he got split in the middle. He really pulled him back, and he pulled him back so hard that Berglund just rolled and then got on top of him because the momentum was so strong, and Carter Young knocked himself off balance. So, yeah, I would have liked to see a different strategy in play from Carter Young. I don't feel like we gleaned too much off that one match. And
what do you think his ceiling is this year?
Carter Young?
Yeah.
Man, well, he beat a bunch of NCAA champions at the trials, so I mean that tells me there's the potential there. Obviously, we talk about how good 141 is. I feel like he can make adjustments and get better. But that was I don't want to see. I mean, we see Mark Hall. He lost to who do you lose? Alex Meyer. Mm-hmm. His first match.
Alex Meyer was an All-American.
He also lost to C.J. Brucky.
C.J. Brucky. Okay, I mean, there's some lower level guys in there. So I guess we'll see where Carter Young goes. But it was one position. It was a single leg with his right hand attacking Berglund's left leg. That was almost the entire outcome of the match.
It is. I don't know if unfortunate is right word. Maybe I am looking too much into it, but that was his opening match, and there was kind of like this mystique around Carter Young after the World Team Trials going in, and what is he? What can he be? And I feel like that brought him down, a little bit more down to earth, kind of. And he's a mid-tier guy at the weight right now.
Yeah,
I think. I'm not ready to say he's going to be an All-American yet anymore this year with how deep 141 is, but who knows? He could be.
Oklahoma State has coming up. They have
a really tough.
They don't usually. Yeah, they don't usually go to CKL. So let's see. They got Drexel.
Scuffle people.
Yeah, Drexel, Oklahoma, Air Force, Wyoming, Utah Valley, Scuffle.
Hopefully Don Demas wrestles in that match.
Air Force and Wyoming, I'm going to be at those duels. Those are in the same day, like 7 hours apart, 3-hour drive in between.
Oh my gosh, I figured it was a try in the same place, but they're doing where they go one and then the other.
Yep. That's
wow,
great.
And then they're driving over to Utah. They're just doing little winter vacation over there.
Probably hit the slopes in between. I don't know.
They might hit the slopes. You never know.
CP scouting it out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Brayton Lee looked freaking amazing.
He looked great, yeah.
Tyler, I think I put it in the doc, but that one takedown he hit was so smooth. It was is it the first one he hit the over tie shuck by. Oh man, that was nice, but
yeah. So yeah, Oklahoma State's upside is really high. Carter Young, I feel like he could definitely make the adjustments. We'll see where that goes. Maybe he's a little small for 141. Also, obviously, he wrestled 134 at the trials, but he can't. You have Dayton there. Man, that was any of the matches, because that was such a fun weekend of wrestling and a lot of really, really good duels.
Gable looked like bored. He was just standing in front of Cerber. Yeah. It was kind of funny for like the first period.
I mean, that was impressive to me how many points Gable scored after not being able to score like at will early. He had to take some time and tenderize him a little bit, and then after he did that, he just poured it on. For the first period, I was like, oh man, is this what we're gonna see from Gable this year? He's like disinterested. It's a victory lap and whatever. But then he was working the whole time. I liked seeing that.
One more result we didn't talk about: Jake Woodley beating Norfleet. I was the only guy.
Oh yes,
with Woodley.
He keeps looking good.
He got it done. Yeah, Woodley's on fire. He's riding the momentum.
Yeah, he looked good.
So should we get into this weekend's or this upcoming weekend's bets? Because this will be our last show for the week. Yeah,
let's do these bets and then let's hit a few questions and then let's. Me and Jacob Roshka are doing some stump grinding today.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm doing.
Back on your stump grind.
Okay, listen, I got some stumps, boy. I cut some trees down. I gotta go stump grind them.
All right, Saturday there's a couple fun duels. At 149, we're gonna see Zach Sherman versus Austin Gomez, and this one I pick him.
To pick him, that's fair, I think. Oh man, this is hard because Sherman.
I've got
Sherman
CPs
two
too.
losses
Bray,
or one loss?
You can toss yours in, but I got CPs as well. I made him text him.
Yeah, Sherman. I mean, 3 losses on the year.
Already 3? I thought it was. Oh man, I was saying 1 or 2.
Yeah, one was Sasso. That's fine. Then he lost to Ridge Lovett, and then he lost to Josh Heil. So currently losing record. He's gonna go into this match with Austin Gomez with a losing record. I'm
gonna say he's due.
I think he gets back on track too. Yeah, I'm gonna go Sherman in the pick'em.
CP and me are going Gomez.
Ooh,
I know.
I don't hate it.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We still don't know exactly what Gomez is yet at 49. This will be his first real big test, and I think he passes. All right. As you mentioned earlier, Iowa and Oregon State. So we're going to get Cassiope versus Gas Tank Gary. I put the line at Cassiope 7.5.
I was surprised you made it this large, but you know what? I think you did it right because I still like.
You gotta think. Can Cassiope get that major?
Yeah, my heart says pick Gas Tank Gary, but it makes me a little bit nervous to pick him because, especially after what happened last weekend, you're gonna see Tony Cassiope really want to redeem himself. Man, what are you guys picking?
I know where I'm going.
I think I'm going Cassiope.
I know Cassiope is going for the Iowa pin record. However,
pin is cover for the record. A pin
is over.
Yes.
However, we're talking about Gas Tank Gary. He's built for moments like this. Cassiope's bonus rate is 21.7% throughout his career.
That's not great. And he's wrestled.
Really? Is that low?
He's wrestled Gas Tank Gary twice and hasn't bonused him yet.
Give me Gas Tank to cover this. He's yeah.
I'm going Cassiope. He's won by 6 and he's won by 4 in their last 2 meetings. He's gonna be fired up. He's gonna get a major 8 points.
I know. I think it's like just 8 points too. Like he's at the end and he realizes like, oh no, I want to get this major. I'm gonna go dig deep for this last takedown, and he gets it. CP has Gas Tank, unsurprisingly though.
Premium fuel.
And then our last bet for the weekend, Seabass. He's on Clark. I made line Seabass 4.5.
I'm going Clark on this one. I thought I think Keyshawn Clark is going to keep it relatively close.
I agree.
He wins comfortably, like 2-3 points, easy.
Yeah, I agree. Clark is so hard to score on. He is very good defensively.
Yes. Just beat Chad Red.
Yep.
I think I'm going Clark to cover as well. I fall kind of in the same boat as you, Ben, where Seabass wins this one somewhat handily, but it's like, 8-4 or something like that. Now, if Seabass could maybe get a nice takedown, transition into like a tilt and get, like a quick 4, then maybe that could open things up and he could, push for a major. But I don't know. I think keeps it close. He's looked great this season. CP's got Seabass covering though.
Okay.
All right, fair enough.
And so that's it for our picks this week. Just the 3. The Cowboy Open will also be going down Saturday. Arizona State and Wyoming are going to be bringing their guys. So
those are the only two D1 teams in action, and this is, I think, it's the first tournament for the Wyoming guys, so I think we're going to see a lot of starters. Who knows if we'll see all of them, and I hope we see Arizona State starters too. We could have some fun ones. 197, Norfleet Buchanan. Norfleet won that one last year, and it was on the same day that Buchanan beat Noah Adams, so it was like, oh man, Buchanan might climb really high in the rankings, and then Norfleet beat him like an hour later, so that'll be a fun rematch, and some other good ones in there too.
Cyclone Open also going down on Saturday.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the questions. There's a couple funny ones and a couple good ones. I like this one. I'm curious what you guys say. Which of the Penn State returning champions is most likely to lose first this season?
I would have to look at their schedule to see who they'll hit.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Who will they wrestle at the collegiate duels? Do we know?
Yes, I think we do know.
The schedule is out, but I don't know. I was just thinking, just based on the weight class, Nick Lee has the most possibilities because there's 3 other really, really challenging matches for him. And obviously, if Yanni's there, then the number is 4. So that was one of the things I was thinking about.
So a match the matchup that's interesting, if Yanni is going back. So we're going to see Cornell, Penn State at that collegiate duels. So RBY, Vito is interesting. And then
that's interesting.
If Yanni does drop to 41, Nick Lee, Yanni, like that is probably the first date where you would think either of them has a chance to lose.
Oh, no, I'm calling Parker Keckeisen over Aaron Brooks, December 20th. Let's go.
Okay. So it's the same. Yeah, so Brooks.
That's 11 a.m.
That's the 11 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Ooh, man. I think a lot of it depends on what we find out with Vito and Yanni, but those two guys, I think, have a chance to beat RBY.
Vito, RBY, who are you picking?
And Lee. I think I'm still picking RBY, but Vito can win that for sure.
Yeah, I think I go RBY.
But if it's Yanni versus Lee, I mean, I'm gonna pick Yanni in that match.
Yeah.
Yanni over
I know
Lee.
most of you guys probably don't think Aaron Brooks is going to lose at all. I know listen, he's very good, but I know the full squad holds him in very, very high regard. But he's going to have some tough. Obviously, I said Keckeisen. I know that's a bias on my part, but there is also Miles Amin, who is going to be a very good match for him also, and then Trent Hidlay is not going away either.
True.
Nick Lee will also have Stefan Micic January 21st.
Oh.
Assuming Stefan is wrestling at that point. We still have yet to see him in a Michigan singlet this season. So, were there any other questions that stuck out to you, Ben?
This one's kind of interesting, and I think it's one of the great things about wrestling. But is there anything analogous to a wrestler winning by pinfall, one behind in points? In other words, where you're losing and then you can win. Obviously, boxing and mixed martial arts are 2 of them. But submission. I don't think other normal team sports, I don't believe they have the automatic win option. I couldn't think of any.
No.
Any? No.
Baseball,
right?
A team getting hot. because there's no time factor, is maybe the closest thing I can think of where like you can score infinite amount of runs in one inning technically.
I mean, walk-offs feel like a pin, but it's not. But it's not like you can't hit a walk-off in the third inning.
Exactly.
Yes.
You literally can't terminate.
You can hit a walk-off when you're down by 7 points or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
From one of the best photographers in the game, Tony Rotundo. I don't know if we've talked about
this was a news
Clarissa Chun in Iowa. Yeah, they kind of snuck this in on us, but it was a knockout hire, obviously.
Yes, great hire.
Yeah, especially like the women's wrestling scene is distinct from men's wrestling scene in that like now Iowa is the one Power 5 option, and Clarissa Chun, because of being part of the USA Wrestling's coaching staff, she's worked with every woman that's been on a developmental team, cadet, junior, U23 for a long time. And I mean, it's crazy. Kyle Klingman put an article on the site yesterday about Emma Bruntill in the transfer portal. And I don't think Clarissa's going around, sniping girls from other programs, but you have to wonder if that's at least part of someone like Emma's decision to enter the portal, is thinking like, man, I could potentially have this option.
When is the first compete in the postseason? Is it 2023?
Yeah. Yep. 23.
So have them fast.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a great hire and really great reception for Clarissa at the duel. And then she was also at the football game, and Iowa people are fired up. She's got a very different persona than you think of when you think of Iowa wrestling. And I think that's a way to maybe, I don't know, create a little bit of a different persona. Yeah, for sure.
One that really
are you hearing Ben all
it's a little choppy
now? You're a little choppy there, Ben. I'm
sure.
All right, well, we might lose Ben here for a second. We're pretty close to 9:40. Yeah, refresh that. Whatever you're using to call in.
Freshen
Ben.
Up a little bit, please.
Yeah, please, for the show. This one's from Tanner McHugh. Do you think the season will continue to have crazy upsets and A's going down to the shortened season last year and the Ivy League returning? Could play a role.
I think so. I mean,
we had less data points last year.
Yeah, the more data points you have, Ben's back. Yeah, I think so. And Ben, we're talking about this question about from Tanner McHugh. Do you think the season will continue to have crazy upsets? A's going down due to shortened season and the Ivy League returning. I mean, yeah, like I think more data points are more likely to yield those kinds of results. Also, tournaments are more likely to yield those results than duels, just for the fact that you're going to have a bunch of matches in one single day and more guys, collected in the same event.
All right, well, maybe we did lose Ben. So I guess maybe that's one more question from Cole Baumgartner. Keegan leading the Hodge Watch. This is just basically to plug that Hodge rankings are out. You can check them on the website. He's not leading at this point, mostly just because, though, with so few data points this season, some guys haven't even wrestled yet on here, that they're basically all based off of seasons from past. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Keegan has 2 pins and a tech so far.
Yeah.
When the next set of Hodge rankings come out, they will be based on this season. So there will be a lot of shifting, and who knows, maybe Keegan will be at the top. He was in the top 4 or 5 pretty much the whole season last year, because he gets a lot of pins. That's big for Hodge Watch.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting this year just because at this point in the year, because I mean Spencer Lee technically not eligible for the Hodge, 0-0. But he's right now number 2 behind Gable. Once Spencer gets some matches under his belt, there's a good chance that his bonus rate becomes 100% for a while. So we'll see. But Keegan's been looking really good so far.
Like, I make these, so if you disagree, you can come at me. My email is andrew.spay@flowsports.tv, and my Twitter handle is SpayWrestle.
I'll put JD's home address in the show notes.
Yes, thank you. So you can reach me there if you want to yell about these rankings. I actually made the case for Spencer at the end last year, kind of based on the criteria. Obviously, we had co-champions last year, which I don't think anybody was a fan of. But I came out with Gable at number 1 this year because it appears Spencer will be on a pitch count, and I think the field has shown to be tougher at heavyweight this year than 125.
100%.
So Gable kind of gets the edge right now, but who knows? Obviously, like I said, it will be largely more based on this season in the next update.
All right.
Anything else?
Pre-CKLV Hodge rankings. I mean, that CKLV is going to be the one that's going to really shake things up.
I know we're just 2 or 3 weeks away.
2 weeks
December
away.
December 3rd and 4th.
We're already starting to get some of that good CKLV preview content on the site, so check that out. I can't wait.
I know. It's going to be a fun time. A week from tomorrow, I leave for Vegas. Wow. Okay. So, for Ben Askren, who so rudely left us, David Bray, and myself, CP, in Colorado, a happy Thanksgiving to everyone listening. Thank you all for listening. We are thankful for you. We're thankful for us. Have a great holiday weekend. We will see you in a week, next Tuesday, last show of the week. Thanks, y'all.